Okay, before things get started, the man said, looking over to Vera, I'd like you to explain why you ran me that series of horse crap about him being your grandson and a half-breed and all that nonsense. If you're going to lie, you should probably know how to lie a little bit better. For starters, you probably shouldn't tell people that he's a half-breed son. Any demon worth his salt is going to know that's a lie. You may not know this, but higher-level demons are capable of sensing the demonic energy levels and concentrations that come from other demons. If your grandson here was actually a half-demon, there'd be impurities in his flow of energy. I'd be able to sense it, the difference in the focus of energy and the type. There'd be some human energy mixed in with it, but there's none of that. No, this kid, he's pure demon. No, not pure demon. There's something else mixed in there, but it ain't human. No, if I had to take a guess, it'd be dragon. He's got draconic blood, the man said as he turned back to face Talion, growing focused once again, dropping his casual smile that he entered the room with. So, I'm just gonna lay it out for you guys. You either just got extremely lucky or extremely unlucky, and it all really depends on how you answer the next few questions. At that point, Vera and Melody began to grow cautious, both of them beginning to reach for their weaponry, blades that they carried on their side. And exactly what do you mean by that? Vera called out. Yes, I'd like you to explain it as well, Melody said, stepping in front of Talion, putting up her guard. Well, it's actually pretty simple. I need to know who you are, what the situation is, so I can make an informed decision about how to handle this, so to speak. You know, I've gotten around quite a bit. I've been all over the human world, the demon world. Hell, I've even been to the Fey realm. That place is a trip. At least the demon realm kind of makes sense. I mean, people are assholes, but, you know, there's kind of a structure to it. You can read people. The Fey realm's just crazy. Just one wild shenanigan after the next. There aren't really any rules there. But I suppose I'm getting sidetracked. You see, the reason I'm caught in this little situation, a dilemma of sorts, is because I happen to have a relationship with a specific individual. A good friend of mine. Actually, he's a really solid guy. Real stand-up, do-right type. I mean, lots of people take honor seriously. But this guy takes honor really seriously. Like he's got it in his bones. The type of guy who would never cross someone who did him good. Anyone who helped him, was kind to him or the people that he cares about, can expect that if anything were to happen, he'd show up, blade drawn, to kick the ass of anyone who dared mess with him. The type of guy who looks out for the people who look out for him, no matter what, against whatever odds. He, in fact, saved my life. So you could say I owe him a debt. One that I've actually been unable to repay as of yet. Vera and Melody stared at the man cautiously, hands still firmly grasping their weapons, trying to not look too obvious. But, as the conversation continued, so too did their nervousness about what he was going to say. You see, this friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, that I fought alongside in a battle, a big one, he's recently run into some trouble. A very unfortunate situation befell him. You see, he eventually met a woman, a very beautiful high-class woman, and they did the whole falling in love and getting married thing. But you see, after they fell in love and got married, they had a kid, a little boy. And as terrible as this is, on the day he was born, some sneaky little thief snuck into their home, stole him right out of the crib. At this point in the conversation, both Melody and Vera suddenly started to grasp the situation of who his friend was. And if that isn't the worst thing you've ever heard in your life, it actually gets worse. You see, after their kid got stolen, well, let's just say that his mother did not handle it well. You see, she she snapped. The loss of her firstborn son, well, it was just too much for her. So on the very day that he disappeared, she locked herself away in her room, and she won't let anyone inside of it. Not even him. Anyone who tries to enter, well, they die. His wife isn't exactly a pushover. She's dangerous by anyone's standards. All she does is sit in her room. All day, every day. She has not moved from that spot in her room for about 10 years now. Just sitting there. All she does is cry. Cry and sing lullabies to a small, stuffed animal that she holds in her grasp, affixed with a small gem. A gem that reads the life essence of one individual and one individual alone. It was created so that anyone holding the gem would know the vital status of the individual that it was attached to. That gem specifically was created to emote the well-being of her child. And so, in her room, she sits, singing lullabies to a stuffed animal, in a sense of eternal mourning, weeping for a child that she knows to be alive, but cannot hold nor see, cannot smell nor touch, that she loves but cannot provide love for. At this point, everyone has basically written her off as mad, sitting in her room praying for the return of a child, refusing to attend or focus on anything other than that. Now, this in and of itself is a very bad thing. It's a terrible situation, and if that's all it was, it would already be tragic enough. But, according to my friend, the situation still gets worse. You see, his wife happens to be the ruler of a large chunk of the demon realm. Her bloodline has been overseeing that spot since, well, the earliest points of established society in the realm. And she is the firstborn, its rightful successor. And so too, her son would be the rightful successor after her. But, with her son disappeared in the wind, and her, well, psychologically impaired at the moment, and completely unwilling to do her job as ruler, the kingdom is kind of in a shambles. They were left with no choice but to let her younger brother take the reins. Her husband would have done it, but as he is not born of the royal bloodline, he is not allowed to sit upon the throne, make rulings or judgments. Her younger brother was the next best thing, but his position is only temporary, unless both his sister and their young child meet, well, an unfortunate fate. His throne could always be revoked. There are actually a great number of people who think that he might be the one responsible for the disappearance of his young nephew. A clamoring for power, perhaps. But nobody can say for sure. All the while, her husband can't really do anything about it. My buddy's stuck. He has to stick around and make sure that nothing terrible happens to his wife. He'd like to go look for his son, but that would leave his wife in that terrible mental state, unprotected from the devious plans of those that might wait in the wings, try to take advantage of her state, get rid of her, so to speak, which would leave only her son to take control from her younger brother. Her younger brother, of course, dispatched lots of people out looking for her son, as they do still know he's alive. But as of yet, they've had no luck in the matter, which honestly could be either a very good thing or a very bad thing. There's really no telling. If her brother is the one that was responsible for his disappearance in the first place, then no doubt the people sent to fetch him would most likely be under orders to kill him on sight. But then again, if he's not, it's just as possible that there is salvation there to save him from whatever fate that he's fallen into. Once again, there's no telling. I don't really know her younger brother, so I can't really gauge whether or not he's on the up and up, whether or not he actually wants the kid to come back. My buddy is many things, but good at reading people and seeing through deception isn't one of them. And he doesn't exactly have the authority to start demanding that people start questioning the current ruler, interrogating him. No, he's got way too much power for that. So, that leaves it with a complicated state of situation. Even if someone actually found the kid, taking him to the, let's call them the appropriate authorities, to be returned to the family, could very well be a death sentence, meaning the only safe way to reunite the family would be to basically fight their way through, or sneak their way through. One of the two, whichever they've got the gusto for. In other words, either the family is reunited directly, without the military or the current ruler being involved, or there's a coin flip on whether or not they'll just be killing him the moment they find him. And all of that brings me to where I stand now, invited to a quaint little home in the hopes of training a young demon, one that by all accounts has a demonic energy level that, is staggering. Seriously. If there were actually other demons around here, the level of power that kid is putting off would be suffocating. They'd be shitting their pants. Any demons that were nearby this place would probably think there was some ungod-awful powerful person claiming this spot as their house, and try to stay very clear of it, not realizing that the entity producing that massive aura is just a kid. A little kid. About 10 years old by the looks of it. Just the type of thing that you'd expect from someone who had 2 level 10 demonic parents. And there's a touch of dragon in there, which kinda narrows down the list of possibilities greatly. So, herein we find the dilemma. The question of who you people are, how exactly you got a hold of a dear friend of mine's child, and what to do from here.